Davies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Myanmar goal.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
North London, the battleground of one of England's fiercest football rivalries, the residents of Middlesex against the perceived invaders from south of the river, a team notorious for its success against a side now infamous for its failures. Gascoigne, Adams, Kane, Henry, Campbell, Adebayor. So many players have left their mark on this fixture, for good and for bad. But now there's a new frontier, a new plane to stake a claim of dominance. The North London derby now comes to the WSL, a fixture where Arsenal room supreme, unbeaten, unfazed, unstoppable, but all runs must end, immortality will run dry, and Spurs are thirsty for their first great scalp. There have been close shaves and oh so nears, but the crown of superiority still remains firmly atop of the head of the Arsenal. We hope you enjoyed the taste of midweek, because now it's time for the main event. This is the Vic Akers Wonderland Spurs versus Arsenal preview podcast. My name is Adam Salter, and once again I am joined by my co-conspirators, the magnificent Matt and the lovely Lottie. Matt, have you recovered from our midweek spectacular?
No, not really. I think what's kind of helped is that we've had work to sort of make sure that we busy ourselves.
You've got us busy on the mind. You can't...
Yeah, well, at least it's not busy. The Norwegian that plays for them. But yes.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Just say you've got Spurs on the mind. Is there something you're not telling us, Matt? Have you?
Not Red 3, is it?
Yeah, she's in my fantasy team. She's
to be fair, I've got Martha Thomas. So.
No, I'm joking. I don't have any Tottenham players in my fantasy team. No. Yeah, I think this game's got. You've pretty much hyped the game to its maximum level. It's a case of, can the players do that themselves?
Oh, yes.
So I'm looking forward to this one, and as usual, we're talking about it, and it's going to be a great one, because I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of debate here and there.
Absolutely, and debate we shall. I'm very much looking forward to it. And lovely Lottie, we were both freezing cold at Meadow Park, enjoying the spectacle before us. I'm hoping you're a bit warmed up now, back home, ready for the sequel.
Oh yeah, I'm nice and toasty. Come back, my mum had loaded my bed up with hot water bottles. I was toasty. I defrosted in about 20 minutes, so I couldn't feel my toes from about 35 minutes in from the game till I got home. So bit chilly, but yeah, no, I'm really excited. First away day with the Arsenal. Going back to Tottenham for the first time since I watched the men win the league there.
Wow.
So I'm really excited to go back. But we've got to win. I don't want to see a loss up there. I've never seen us lose at White Hart Lane.
That's you haven't been there since 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we'll come back to that in a bit. Got a nice icebreaker, as we always start with, which is the question. And I think you're going to probably answer this one, Lottie. Your favourite North London derby memory, and it can be men or women, because obviously this is quite a new derby for the women's game. If you had to pick one memory or moment, can be anything from the North London derbies.
I've got one of each, actually.
Okay. All right. Well, as it's a Spurs versus Arsenal preview, I'll keep it to away games, if that's okay. The away fixtures.
Oh, I've never been to. Well, that's the women out then.
Well, you've watched them on TV. You've seen them on TV as well. It doesn't have to be. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't really test Vivian Miedemar's defensive skills apart from that time at the Emirates.
What were your memories then, home or away? What were your choice?
Well, home for the women. We were sitting in the North Bank. You were actually the row behind us. Funny enough.
Yes, it was.
In the North Bank, and they Spurs were coming on, attacking to us, and all of a sudden Viv is turned into this world-class defender. And it's just something we didn't expect from her at the time. And yeah, I loved every moment of it, because we all love Viv. What can I say?
Just the one where
And
she
then-
hacked it off the line. Was that that one?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
I
it
remember.
was.
Yeah.
It was hacked off the line. So quite pleased she saved Manu at the time.
Yes.
For the men's, for me, it's got to be the Thomas Rosicky Long Ranger at White Hart Lane. That was sublime. Thomas Rosicky, take a bow.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can pick so many out there. A few of Ramsey's come to mind, but the first one that comes to my mind is Thomas Rosicky.
Yep.
And that long range shot.
Sweet spot on the volley.
Closely followed
bins.
by Santi Cazorla as well.
Yes.
If you're a diehard Arsenal fan, you know exactly which one I'm talking about.
Yep, we do. Matt, over to you. Any Spurs memories, happy memories for you? North London derby memories?
Yeah, I think we should go back to the last time for the women that we were there. Actually, no, the second visit we were there, even, because the first time we did win, but the second one meant a lot more. Manu bringing out a triple save,
Yes.
Viv scoring that absolute brilliant volley. It was just absolute rocket in that game as well.
Yep.
For us, just a fantastic game all around. If I had to pick a men's game, I'll take you back to 2015, the League Cup at the time for the men. And Arsenal decided to go and ask Mathieu Flamini if he would like to come back. He accepted, and his first game back was a North London derby. And if you think at that time, 2015, who do you think is going to score in a League Cup against Tottenham? I don't think you would have picked Mathieu Flamini.
Yeah,
but he didn't do it once. He did it twice.
And
the first one was amazing, that it became a meme of a religious person just sitting there going, you know what, I'm very, that goal was sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, just Mathieu Flamini just becoming the unsung hero that day. It just I think just tells a story that not always the players you think are going to be the winners are going to do it. Maybe it might be a Noel Moritz, maybe it might be a
Cooney-Cross.
Cooney-Cross. Maybe, well, I would say
maybe Manu.
Maybe Manu cut from a corner from a bicycle kick. You never know.
You never know. No, I remember that one, the volley right at the end to win the cup title. I think that was his last goal for the club, actually. For me, this isn't a goal per se. It is more of a moment. So I was at the game at Brisbane Road last season, which went rather well for us, 5-1 win. And I was next to Lewis. Those who don't know, Lewis is part of the Red and White Army group in the North Bank. And I was sat with him in second episode. It was all going well, and I think it was Steen. I think it was the first goal. It was the first half, so it was over the Steen goal, the Ford goal. We're all jumping in the air celebrating, and Lewis gets a bit overexcited and topples down about sort of 2 rows on top of the crowd in front of him, and we're having to sort of retrieve him from the crowd as he's looking a bit abashed. But all the vibes are good because we're battering Spurs of a North London derby. But one moment he's standing up next.
You told that story last season.
Absolutely,
Lewis, we're sorry. We're embarrassing you again if you're listening.
But he won't mind you saying it. But yeah, one moment he's standing next to me cheering, and next minute he's gone. I'm looking down. He's like, "Oh, what are you doing out there, Lewis?" And he's like, "Oh." So yeah, very much enjoyed it. Fantastic day out, and hoping for something a bit similar. But before we go into derby, there has been a bit of news. Things have happened, and one of the things that has happened is the FA Cup draw for the 4th round, and this is a very exciting time because this is when the WSL clubs come out to play, and Arsenal have been drawn with Watford. 14th of January, the game will be home at Meadow Park. Just as an FYI on Watford, they are currently bottom of the Championship. Not good for them. I think we could probably agree we could have had worse draws. I think we've done all right with that one. I think hopefully our team will have enough, but I expect we'll rotate for it as we have done with the Conti Cup. Should note it is the first game back from the winter break, be that particular game. So we may come into that cold as well. So hopefully, we've had a warm-up training sessions before then. Should note they have ex-Gooner Gemma Davison in their ranks. She was with us when we won the WSL, I think back in 2013. Also had spells with Chelsea as it happens. Also in the ranks is on loan Michelle Adjumang. She's also playing for them. I think that she's with them this season. So I think it's a dual thing. Matt probably knows more about it than I do because he sort of follows the Championship. Matt, is that right?
Yeah, there's a dual line. Are you going to bring up the other players as well?
I was going to say who are the others? I know there are others, but I couldn't quite catch their names. I know of obviously Michelle because she's one of the more high profile ones.
Yeah.
But who else is with them at the moment?
Leila Harbert, who's doing really well for them at the moment, and Katie Reid, who is becoming one of those brilliant. She's actually becoming very Leah Williamson. She's originally starting as a centre back, but a lot of the times you'll see her as the defensive midfielder.
Okay, that's good to hear. So, yeah, because obviously Leah Williamson is so great. I think Yoni's even said like you can't replace Leah Williamson. There's only one of them. Well, if we're growing a Leah Williamson Mark II, that's really exciting. So, I don't know what the rules are with dual ownership, whether they can play in this game or if they are, because of the loan, they can't play against their parent club. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. But yes, Arsenal v Watford, our FA Cup campaign begins on the 14th of January at Meadow Park. Hopefully you can all make it and buy a ticket and join the noise. It should be something special. I think back to last season, our game against Leeds, which was ultimately a bit of a walkover in the end, but it was a great moment. It gave a lot of players a chance to get debut goals. I think of the likes of Palova, got her first goal then. It was quite a nice goal as well. Michelle Adjemang, that was another great moment. She got on the score sheet as well. I think Hurtig and Stina as well. So lots of good memories from that day. Hope for something similar then. Jonas had his press conference today, pre-match, and one of the big news is that Kim Little looks to be a doubt for the game. She picked up a knock in the Chelsea game and had to come off Freedom Morning, came on for every night. Morning came for her. Looks like she's a doubt, and I think that the idea is that she will not play this game, which is a bit of a shame, really, because she scored there before. In fact, her her most recent goal for Arsenal was actually the penalty at Spurs last season. She hasn't scored a goal since, so it would have been nice maybe to get one then, but it won't be for her. We probably won't see her play until the new year. Hopefully by then she'll be fully recovered. It's not thought to be anything serious. But if we look at the players we've got, the options we've got in the midfield, we don't need to rush her back. That's the plan anyway. And lastly, I mentioned in an earlier pod that I was on a secret mission Monday night. And that secret mission was I was very fortunate to be able to attend the premiere of the new Arsenal documentary, Step by Step. Now, this is something that Beth Mead and Vivian Miedemar have worked on together with Arsenal to sort of detail their recovery from the horror ACLs they suffered around this time last year, as it happens. All I can say, it's really good. I don't want to reveal any spoilers, but I have done a preview on it on Sporting Her. Do check it out if you want to get an idea of what it's going to be like. But it's very emotional. There are some sad moments in there, as we expect, but I'd also say there's a lot of laughs. Most of them coming from Vivian Miedemar. She's very witty, and her sort of sarcastic humour comes across really well. And I always think when you're going through something sad and painful as these ACL recoveries are, and they're monotonous and torturous, and it never seems to be much light ahead of a tunnel, having a bit of humour on the subject really does help. Sort of mentality, and helps you get through it. And now we're seeing Mead looks like back to how she was against Chelsea, which was great. And obviously Viv made her first start midweek against Spurs. So look out for that. Comes out 18th of December. They will release it rather next week. There has been a few trailers circulating, so do check it out. And yes, it's very, very good. We only saw the first 3 episodes, but the hosts there were quite keen to state that the 4th and 5th episodes, it's a 5-episode series, the 4th and 5th episodes are good. Are very, very good, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it, and hopefully it also prompts a wider discussion on ACLs. There was a recent article I saw, they've done some research on it, and one of the things they are saying, surprise, surprise, that might be causing ACLs is more intensive schedules and more games being played could be a potential. Thinking, yes, we did kind of suspect this. So all the conversation is happening, the research is happening, the right questions are being asked, and hopefully this is the start of us fighting against what the documentary calls an epidemic of ACL injuries. So hopefully this is hopefully the end of the upward trajectory, and we can start to get a lid on it. But that's next week, 18th December. By the time you're watching that, we will have played the North London derby against Spurs, and that is where we're going to come to next. So I'm going to start with a pop quiz for the pair of you. What was the score and who were the goal scorers the last time Jonas took Arsenal to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Matt, I'll give you a go. Matt, any thoughts?
So last time we went, I remember it being 3-1.
And goal scorers?
I know Viv scored. Yeah, Viv scored because I mentioned that earlier. I think Caitlin got one, and I'm sure Casey got the other.
Right. Okay. Lottie, any thoughts? Do you want to go with that, or do you want to have a different answer? No.
Do you want a Tottenham scorer?
No, because Matt's wrong, completely wrong. The last time we went there was actually in 2021. It was the Mine Series pre-season friendly, and
6-1.
No, we won 4-0. We won 4-0. Alex Hennessy got a brace. Katie McCabe and Anna Patton also scored. It's one of Jonas' side goals.
Yes, that's correct, because that's when Jonas just really first started.
It was.
And how do I put this politely? Someone did ask, how does it feel to be going to Tottenham's ground for the first time? And Jonas turned around and said, no, I've been there before. So, and this was pre-season. And I just really wish people do their research. I mean, there's also a case of asking if Katie's getting a reputation. Everyone knows that reputation.
And it's unfair.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I can think of certain players who should be getting a few more bookings than Katie McCabe. Not mentioning names, but there are certainly more hatchet players than McCabe out there, shall we say.
Oh, no, exactly.
One of them plays for
just
Chelsea.
The agenda, and it irritates me.
Well, yeah, like I said, that's another podcast for another time. But yes, it was 4-0. It was a pre-season friendly. This was when Jonas was just getting his feet under the table. And a few weeks later, we beat Chelsea 3-2. And it all felt rather nice back then. Last time, obviously, we did play Spurs, was at Brisbane Road last season, the game I mentioned last season. And it was a 5-1 battering. In a season where at that point it was starting to the ACLs were on the horizon, the next batch of them. So we'd sort of at that point found a sort of equilibrium with our team. We just won the Conti Cup. We'd sort of got everything sort of stabilised. And then obviously Kim Little got injured and then the ACLs. But it was a cracking day out. I thoroughly enjoyed it. 5-1 win. Stina Ford, Kim Little, Ford again, and a Frida Screamer in a 5-1 win. A certain Bethany England scored for Spurs, unfortunately. We have actually played.
Even I would have even jumped down to save that ball.
No, exactly, as you said many times before. There has been 2 trips in the WSL. One that had a record attendance. That was the first ever derby played there, and that was in 2019. Little and Miedemar on the goals. And as you mentioned earlier, Matt, 3-0. That was during lockdown when there were no fans. And that was Ford, Miedemar wonder volley, and Katie McCabe. And Manu Zinsberger making that amazing triple save. Do check it out if you can, because it is pretty special. And I think we can all agree that's the moment when Manu sort of arrived at Arsenal after about a shaky sort of 12 months or so where she wasn't quite in it. That was like, yeah, she's in. So, since promotion, Spurs have lost all but one of their games in the WSL against us. Just a 1 draw, which is still great. But they also drew 3-3 with us midweek, albeit against a changed Arsenal. Matt, are Spurs a threat to Arsenal yet?
You would have said probably at the start of the season the fact that they brought in Martha Thomas just to make sure that when Beth England comes back that they would be more sound. Questionably, yes, but at the same time, no, because essentially they don't have that defensive unit or the midfield powerhouses that we have. So if you do look across their entire squads, I don't think there's a lot of players that strike the fear into your heart as a Beth England might do, or a Martha Thomas. Well, it took a while, but Martha Thomas eventually has arrived in the WSL, and all it took. Who would have thought it would have taken just someone to take a chance on her?
Yeah, she was at Man United, wasn't she?
Being a sub there. It's like Rachel Williams. When Rachel Williams went from Tottenham to Manchester United, no one was expecting that to have that impact, and she's become a super sub for them.
She's become their own Jodie Taylor. Lottie, Spurs, are they still the symbol of mockery amongst Arsenal, or should we be worried about them?
I think they're definitely ones to watch out for this time round, to be honest with you. As we put it in the last pod, they did kind of have our B team to play against. But they weren't a full strength squad. I'm expecting England to start.
Yes, this is
absolutely no doubts about that. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I have seen their manager's interview. I'm not too impressed, but he's got the fighting attitude that North London is. I'm not going to say it. I can't say it.
No.
And he wants to compete in this fixture. He wants it to be fierce. And I was sitting there listening to the reporters ask this question to Jonas. Jonas didn't seem to care. He's cool, calm, and collected. But it's not kind of answer I was looking for. I know he's here to do what he does best, the North London derby, but I'm wondering if he understands what it means to the fans at this point. I don't like criticising him because he's done a good job. Katie knows what it means. Caitlin Ford knows what it means. And the newer players will come into it. They will learn. But the old guard who've been here for ages know what it means to fans. And I just hope they're going out there full fire.
I'm sure they will. And I think maybe what Jonas is trying to do is he's trying to focus on the game and not the occasion. Because
I completely understand that.
Yeah, because if you make
understand that, but
if you make
sometimes
go
on.
I was going to say something. Yeah, I was going to say you can focus too much on the fire and the occasion and focus on the rivalry when actually the important thing is getting the 3 points and the whole act becomes secondary as such. That's how I saw it anyway.
The thing is, for the fans, it only takes a small match just to light the fire, and then you're off. The fans, you know this. I think someone said to me the other day, like, whenever we talk about Spurs, you just go irate and how much you hate them, and I'm like, it's not a case of that. I hate Spurs for Spurs. North London is red and always will be red.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as far as women's is concerned, London is red.
Absolutely.
So
and I think we showed that last weekend.
Oh, absolutely. It's a lot more than points on the line this weekend for me.
Absolutely.
Especially going back to White Hart Lane.
Well, you say, obviously, you were saying earlier in the pod that this is the first time you've been back since 2004. Likewise, for me, it's the first time I've been back there since 2004. And that was, as I've said to you many times before, Lottie, that was the start of my very first football match. My first football match was at White Hart Lane, and there is an element of sort of coming full circle. Although,
thank God you chose the right side of North London. Eh?
Yeah, even though I was supporting Spurs on the day for political reasons to do with my school, I don't think I'd have been allowed on the bus home, put it that way, if I was being vocally supported of Blackburn Rovers. So no, it was. I was a Spurs. That's the only time in my entire life, and that's one. But for 90 minutes, I was forced to be a Spurs fan, and I think I maybe might have burnt my school uniform when I got home for the shame.
I'll be honest with you. That's just, I know. Yeah, I'm not going to say it because I say it as a joke, and I don't want people to take it away.
I hope I have since been forgiven. I think I have earned my penance for that. So yes, looking forward to going back. Going back to a stadium that will hopefully look better and feel better than maybe the shambles I walked into when I went there back in 2004. I've heard great things of Spurs Stadium, never been. Very much looking forward to crossing this one off the list. So we'll see how it goes. Going into the game, so form. Arsenal have won, I was going to say, they've won the last 5 games. They've actually won 7 games on the spin, 7 games in a row since our shaky start to the season when we only got a point out of a possible 6. We've won every single game in the league, including last weekend's 4-1 win over Chelsea. It's sort of been glossed over in the press. No one's really mentioned it. On the other side of North London, it's a bit shakier. Spurs, no win in 5. With 2 losses and 3 draws. And that was after they made a decentish start of 3 wins in the first 4. So they'll be looking to bounce back from that. They're currently 6th in the table, so firmly mid-table, which I think was probably, if I was to call the table at the end of the season, that's where I would expect Spurs to finish. But obviously, they will have ambitions to go further than that. So let's look at the lineups then. How are we going to do this? Goalkeepers. Matt. It's going to be Manu again, isn't it?
100%. I was just thinking about where everyone was going to sit. I would imagine this is going to be the team that basically sorts itself out will be the one that played Chelsea at the weekend. I would perhaps imagine that because of Kim's injury, who would come in on that is pretty much self-explanatory. That is Kyra Cooney-Cross. And I know it's Lottie's just sitting there just smiling away and having a little bit of a giggle because
correct term is beaming.
Well, yeah, okay. Ear to ear, grinning like the Cheshire Cat. I think that it just makes sense at this point that Kyra comes in, a little bit more sense to it. She can be able to play those balls that she was able to do against Tottenham on the game on Wednesday. I think, yeah, I really think this team just picks itself at the moment.
Okay. I was going to say, you're jumping side in the midfielders. I was going to get that in a bit, but it's a good point. Went to about Kim Little obviously being injured, so there is going to need to be a change there. I think we're all in agreement. Manu is the number one keeper now. Sorry, Sabs. Great penalty save midweek, but I'm afraid it's going to be on the bench for this particular one. But I've no doubt if he does pop for Sabs, he'll do us proud nonetheless. Defence. I don't think we're going to pick the same defence we had midweek. I think Jonas might go for something different. So, Lottie, what is your back line then for Spurs at the weekend?
Kate McCabe. I'm probably going to get these two wrong the wrong way around. Mandela's dead. Lotte Wubben-Moy and Steph Catley. Adam, you're on mute. I'm really sorry to say this.
I finally, it's the first time it's happened on the pod. I've been so careful throughout every single recording, and it's the first time it's happened. I think we're up to episode 80 or something like that. I've finally been done by the mute button.
Episode 81.
81.
And you had the mute button while you're hosting. Sorry, everybody.
It's finally happened. I feel ashamed, but it's like when you do your driving lessons and you get your first stall, and it's like, oh, the shame of it. I've stalled the car. I thought I was going to be perfect forever. Yes, I've fallen foul of that. So, hands up. That's on me. Yes. So you think Katie McCabe? We'll wait for Lottie to recover first. Katie McCabe at right back. You're saying, Lottie? Yeah, good. She's nodding. Okay, I don't think she's ready for.
Yeah,
I'll come
sorry,
back to you in a minute. Yeah, it happens. It happens. So, Katie McCabe right back. Matt, do you agree? Or are you going to try and gamble on a back five again like you were last week?
I think my gamble, the way you were seeing it last week was that you could gamble, but I think it also was a bit odd for Emma Hayes to turn around and play a back four when she's been playing back three solidly, which is why I suggested it in the first place. It made me look like an idiot, so thank you very much, Emma. But
damn you, Emma Hayes! It's Emma Hayes' fault.
Everything's Emma Hayes' fault. Have we not learned this lesson yet?
That is true. That is true.
It's all right. We've got 6 months left to get all the Emma Hayes jokes out of our system.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll ever leave.
While we're talking about Emma Hayes, just a massive congratulations to Chelsea for their 0-0 draw in the Champions League, which puts them second in the group, and a packed attendance of 3,300 fans at Stamford Bridge to support them. So keep it up, Chelsea. Keep up the support.
That's not bad considering they capped it at 5,000.
Yeah, not bad, and also considering it's just under 300 less than what we achieved at Meadow Park against Spurs in the Conti Cup. Just saying. Anyway, back to the pod. We were talking about Spurs. Just had to get that one in. Yes, Matt. Back three is looking silly.
Yeah, I don't think this is the game to go back three. Just on the case of it, I've just looked actually what formations Tottenham have been playing, and it has been the 4-3-3, but they trialled the 4-4-2 against Man United last time out.
Yes, they went a bit Mike Bassett there,
with Thomas and England playing together for the first time, and you could say it didn't work, but I wouldn't be surprised if they line up with another and try it again.
Yeah, no, I could certainly imagine doing it. I mean, I think we all agree. We think Beth England's going to start this one. We know she loves the goal against Arsenal. She did it plenty of times for Chelsea, and she did it for Spurs last season. I mean, I've got her in my fantasy football team, so I've got mixed feelings going into this one. If Beth England does score, great, but not at the expense of Arsenal, maybe not. So we think, Katie McCabe right back. I agree. I think she is making that position her own. I feel sorry for Noel Maritz because she's great and she played midweek rather, played rather well. It just feels like that this is the way Jonas has sort of settled the side on having Katie McCabe getting on the team, playing her as the inverted right back, almost like the opposite side, Zinchenko, but on the right hand side. And it's working. It worked against Lauren James. Lauren James was in McKay's pocket, didn't get a sniff. So I'm more or less opposed to it than I was maybe early in the season when I thought it might have been a problem. But it looks like that's our settled back line. And yeah, Amanda and Lottie did great work against Chelsea. 100%. They are our starting defensive partnership until obviously Leah returns. Moving on to the midfield, Lottie, I'll come back to you on this one. Matt did kind of steal a bit of my thunder, jumping slightly ahead, but as a lover and a member of the Church of Kyra Cooney-Cross, I feel there was obviously, she impressed midweek. Kim Little is out. Obviously, Kim Little played the 10 role against Chelsea, and so Frida came in for her. So my instinct is that it will be a Palova layer pivot with maybe Frida in the 10, in which case, if I think Kyra deserves a chance to play. If she were to come into midfield, who would you take out? And what would Kyra offer in the midfield?
I am going to get a dagger look off Matt in a second. I'm going to take out the Volti. I'm going to take her out because there's no point of having two players with the same style of football. Right, okay. I love Leah Volti, no offence, but I think after her causing mayhem in running that midfield at Meadow Park on Wednesday night, she deserves to start.
Right.
So I wouldn't move Palova at all from where she is. Wouldn't move Frida either. So it has to be Leah Volti for me. Yeah, her performance speaks for itself. You don't need me to go on.
No, honestly, she absolutely.
But no, she definitely deserves to start. After that, she just she was magical, as we say. There is another profanity word to that, but I won't say it because
no,
PG.
absolutely not.
But yeah, no, she totally deserves to start on Saturday, and I just. She's had an inkling of what a North London derby's like, but North London derby's away. Different ball game.
Absolutely, and this is
plus Spurs can't really play at White Hart Lane anyway. The pitch is too big.
Well, this is the other thing because we obviously played the Emirates, and that worked in our favour against Chelsea. We weren't in a small, tight pitch which was half frozen. It was a good quality pitch, and I'm expecting the same at Spurs. And I'm also excited to see Palova in that midfield again after seeing what she was doing against Chelsea, which was, I swear, every time I watch Palova play in the midfield, she is better than the game before. Like every time I watch her, I think, wow, she is so good. I've never seen her play like this. And then I watch her against Chelsea and I'm like, wow, she is so good. I have never seen her play. Like every time I watch, she gets better and better, and it's incredible. And that for a player of that
what it is?
age,
I'm getting like for her age, right? It's just it's phenomenal. But she's also looks so angry, like Leah Williamson does when she plays, and I love it.
She's got that fire, hasn't she? She's got that fire.
That resting angry face.
Well, she's only 24.
Even in the team photos, you see it. She's learning.
She's only 24 years old, but in that midfield against an experienced unit like Chelsea, she's very young to the league against the likes of Cuthbert, who's obviously been around with Chelsea for years and knows Brazil inside out. She ran that midfield. She ran Chelsea ragged, press resistance, her spins, her driving runs and passing, set up Mead's goal, created the penalty opportunity. I just cannot wait to see her again. And everybody's now taking notice because as much as it was Russo who got the brace, and I think Russo has a fair case for player of the match against Chelsea for her goal scoring contributions. But I think Palova was a close second, if not probably should have won it for her performance in the midfield. And that's Jonas spoke after Chelsea saying this is the most I've seen a team control Chelsea since like Barcelona when they battered them in the Champions League final. And I think Palova was a key part of that. And that was the player everyone was talking about at the end of the game. And I'm really excited to see what she does. Because at the Emirates, obviously, it's a home crowd. So she's got that support. But now she's in the Lions' Den. And I'm really intrigued to see how she performs. It's going to be
the Lions' Den, but we're a sold-out away end.
Well,
and
that is true.
Only opened up half that stadium. So bring it on.
That is should I say a good tangent actually on the attendance. I don't know what the attendance is going to be at Spurs, but as you're saying, it's not going to be a crowd sellout, which is a shame. And I know they did a bit of advertisement on it. I think it was Son Heung-min and Keith Graham did a little video online encouraging people to go to the game. And I should say, I know we're not going to have any Spurs fans watching, but I'll just, as an open invitation, Spurs fans, please come along and support your team. This is going to be a very special game. It's just before Christmas. Support the team. Make this a big occasion as possible. Last OSL game before Christmas, because the more fans we have in there, especially, I know that not Arsenal fans, but the more fans in general who are supporting the team, the better the occasion. And even better if it's going to be, 40,000 fans booing the Arsenal while we're, the 3,000 whatever in the away corner cheering them on, even better. So hopefully they can get a decent chunk of crowd in there. But as you were saying, there's a suggestion we might actually outnumber them. And I was there for the game at Brisbane Road when we definitely did outnumber them, and it was rather funny. So we'll see how it plays out. So you're thinking Kyra Cooney-Cross, Victoria Pelova with Frida in the 10. Matt, as somebody who is very much Team Leah Velti, I offer you the chance to respond to this suggestion.
I'm glad you did, because I'm having a think about it just now while Lottie was saying that, and my biggest concern would be that essentially Tottenham gave Kyra the room. I think she's going to be targeted a lot more if she gets on the pitch. So I expect Tottenham to be more out to get her. If obviously Kim's not going to be there, but you're talking about Victoria as well. I think Victoria will definitely be playing on the 10. At this moment in time, I don't think Frida is up to her standards from last season. But I just think that at the moment it needs to have a solid base, and Leah Velti offers that. Again, if you want to go back onto the last pod, I did mention my reasons why I don't think Kyra Cooney-Cross is the defensive midfielder that people think for Leah Velti.
Yeah.
I just to sum it up, basically, is that I don't think we've seen enough of her for them people to justify that at the moment, and it's not really fair at the moment to make that assessment until she gets proper game time, like a consistent run of games, not a game in the Conti Cup and then 60 minutes in
hang on. I would say, she has had a good run of.
She has had a good run of games.
She's played away at Leicester. She played away at Brighton and did very well in both those games. It's not like a Katrine Mollakul situation where she's only playing in the Conti Cup. She's had.
No, she has, but as other times you look at the first game of the season, for example, Liverpool, she only got 5 minutes. But against Chelsea, she only got a couple of minutes as well.
Yes, but Kyra,
I know you're going to talk about managing minutes and things like that.
No, earlier in the season, Kyra was actually injured. She actually did make a statement that she actually was. She wasn't up to speed because she was injured, and that's why we lost her earlier on in the league. And I think since coming back in, she's been brilliant. I think she's shown enough. I would have liked to have seen her get more time against Chelsea. I think it was a shame that she didn't go. Like I mentioned in the previous pod, the idea of Katrine Mollakul against Spurs midweek, that was a proper test for her, and I think she did good things and she did bad things. That was a real test of her skills. For Kyra Cooney-Cross, it would have been interesting to maybe have got an extra more 10 or 20 minutes against Chelsea than maybe the 5 minutes at the end, and maybe a game against Spurs aren't Chelsea. I mean, let's be frank. They are based on the league table and the track record going into this game, they are not of that level. So it won't be as much of a test. But I would like to see how she would cope in the big stadium, big pitch, Lions Den, effectively rival team. I'd like to see how she played. But I think there's a case of both. It'd be interesting to see which way Jonas flips. But regardless of what happens, whoever starts, I think the other player will come on. And the idea, if you've got Leah Velti on the bench,
this is what I'm talking about, is that I think Kyra's better in the attacking sense than Leah. Leah does the cutting of the lines, and she's able to be.
You would have Velti, so you have Velti and
Velti being the distributor, the cutting the lines, and then Kyra Cooney-Cross being the distributor.
So you'd have a pivot of Velti and Kyra Cooney-Cross.
Yeah,
with Pelova in the 10 to the Frida.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I think Frida is actually in form now. I know she wasn't at the start of the season. I think she is now. I think she's shown that in the Conti Cup, and she's got a few goals in the league as well. And she's, I think she's worked out her relationship with Russo on the pitch now. That's actually going to bring up. That's a good point, because now we're going onto the attack. Russo's here, everyone. She's arrived. Took 4 months and a bit of bedding in, but it looks like it's finally clicked for her. Do we start with Stina, Matt?
I think it's going to be one of those ones where it's she's not really going to be needed unless something goes drastically wrong, similar to Chelsea. Although, let's be honest, I think you mentioned it, Adam. I think we could all imagine, had there was an opportunity for Stina to get a couple of chances, either the ball didn't go directly into her, or she didn't get the touch that she wanted in the end. You can. I don't think Stina's going to start this one. I think she's on the bench.
Stina, I can imagine that. I think Russo deserves the right to start. I think she's. It's clicked for her, and hopefully she can take that form into the Spurs game. Embed herself more on the front line. Lottie, who would be your front three pick?
Oh, it's got to be she's right. She loves the Virgin Mike. Caitlin Ford on the left.
Yeah, well, she loves a goal.
It's got to be Beth Mead on the other side. And then through the middle, Leslie Russo. Bring Stina on later to terrorise them a bit more.
Absolutely.
And maybe even swap over, just going back to midfield, Frida for Viv. Get us a good run out in the North London derby again after the 61 minutes she got last time out.
She did, and she has scored in her last 2 appearances when she's made a start. Think back to during Joe Montemuro's era. Scored in the first derby there, and again during lockdown. So, what a return that would be if Viv got her first goal back away at Spurs.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I'm going to call it now because Beth did it at Chelsea. So I'm going to call it now.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
And I'm going to go back to my midfield changes. I'm going to put Viv there instead of Frida, and bring Frida and Stina on later for Russo. And,
so you're going to start Viv at 10? Oh, because we were discussing this obviously in the previous pod, and we thought maybe, but yeah, I mean that's quite a step of intensity.
That's where she wants to play, but she won't get a full 90 minutes. There's absolutely, even if it's just 45 minutes, fine.
So you don't think
I like to unleash Frida and Stina together because their working relationship is just sublime.
Well, we saw it midweek, didn't we? The pair of them scored. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you don't think we're going to go back to the Viv left wing experiment?
It's Caitlin Ford. I can't. No. I'm sorry. Yeah. She's had her misses in the week. Now it's time to start rippling the net. I'm sorry.
No, I do wonder if the only reason that was happening was because of Lena. If Lena wasn't injured, I have a feeling that she would have been playing that game and Viv would have probably started in a 10.
I think that's probably true. I think Lena is the analogue to Ford in that position. And at the moment, we can't sub Ford off, if that makes sense. We didn't against Chelsea.
Well,
so
we could if we had Nell Maritz on. We'd put Katie up there.
Yeah, but obviously we subbed Katie off for Catley midweek. And yeah, at the moment we are there are a few square pegs in round holes, but they're doing very well at being round at the moment. Yeah, I would like to see Viv back. I don't think she'll be necessarily be a left-sided wing. I think she will be the 10 if she does play. So keep an eye on that. Moving over to the other side of North London to Spurs. Danger players. I think Beth England's the obvious one.
Martha Thomas.
Martha Thomas, yeah.
Martha Thomas. Fantasy football managers like myself have been holding on for her for weeks. Then in midweek, she gets a goal and an assist in her first North London derby. So I'm putting her down. I'm also putting Ashley Neville on that list purely for her crosses and corners at this point.
Yeah. No, we saw
no one point of the attack is the danger threat. It's everywhere.
We saw midweek that danger, didn't we? We saw it with and Jess Naz as well. Got a brace midweek. definitely a threat there.
Tried the hat trick, but we said no.
No. I do find these sort of double headers always a bit curious fixture-wise, because it always feels like, from my experience, that a team will win one, but they won't win both. So one team will win one, and then the other team win the other one. And I think back to...
but this is a derby, as I've said to you. More is on the line than just points.
I think, like...
It's bragging rights.
Absolutely.
What colour North London is. It's all of that.
Yeah.
So, and people, if you've got the right players in the mix, like Katie McCabe and her Arsenal attitude, and if it runs through, and if Leah gives a speech before the game, because you know Leah Williamson's not missing this game, she will be in the stands or with the team. If she gives that speech again that we've seen previously, or we've seen with England, one of the two, they're good. It's clean sailing, especially if we do go behind. We probably won't, but if. We will need that Leah Williamson lift up.
Absolutely. What I was going to refer to is last season we had Chelsea in the FA Cup, and then immediately after Chelsea in the Conti Cup. And one of the and also we had also had Man City in the Conti Cup, and then Man City in the league. It happened twice, and in both occasions we won the correct fixtures because it won us a trophy. But then we missed out in the FA Cup and missed out in the league. Now I'm hoping this team has moved beyond that and can win 2 games against the same opposition in a row. That's what I'm hoping.
But this is Chelsea, way up here, and Tottenham's down here.
Oh, I know,
as
it's
you
different.
Said earlier.
Yeah.
For the audio listeners, I've got two different my hands at 2 different levels.
Yes, Chelsea,
High
Man
level
City,
being Chelsea,
Spurs.
Tottenham being lower.
Yeah.
The manager over there, his highest aspiration at this point is just to beat Arsenal.
And I get that.
That for me is not good enough. You want to be a WSL team, you want to be the same level as Chelsea, you want to be winning stuff and not giving away cheap points, which they have been.
And
so,
what I think works to our advantage, though, is the fact that we said this in the previous in our review pod. Do check it out. But we talked about the fact that we didn't go full strength, and Spurs sort of did. And I think there's an element of Spurs will have shown their hand, shall we say, in that League Cup tie, and they went for it. Showed off a lot of their attacking play. They got 3 goals. 3 well-worked goals. So Jonas can look
for the first time ever at Meadow Park.
Yeah, and Jonas can look at that and go, right, this is how they got at us. These were the key passes they made. These were the movements they made. He has seen how Spurs cut us open 3 times. Luckily, we got away with it. And he can brief his team and they can come up better. We did not play all our races. We certainly didn't start all our races. A lot of our races were on the bench. But we liked of Lottie and Matt didn't play. McKay played in a different position with a different goalkeeper. The midfield, obviously, the makeup was different. So I think there is a chance that I'm also catching by surprise, but Spurs definitely won't play the same Arsenal that played midweek. But we will.
If they were going to beat us, it would have been against the team that was out.
Absolutely.
That's for sure, and that would have been their first win. Dare I say it? I think the only ace they have left to play is Beth England.
Yeah.
Because she has had some minutes, but she will not be playing the full 90. I don't think.
You don't think
she didn't get a run out in the Conti Cup? I can't see it. She's been back 1 game, as far as I know. The last time I looked, I could be wrong.
Could be wrong. As I said, Spurs didn't play sort of us, but we sort of played Spurs. So that's what I sort of mean by that. We will hopefully I'm expecting us to play basically the same team again, and Arsenal should be pretty ready for that. Beth England aside. So pretty much gone over the lineups. I think, as Matt was saying earlier on, it does pick itself. It's pretty much the same as it would have been against Chelsea, with a Kim Little swap out for Kyra Cooney-Cross. And that's right, Kim Little swapped out for Frida, and then maybe Kyra coming in instead of Velty. And I think in that instance, you've got Velty on the bench. We can bring her off the bench into the midfield, which is a great option to have. So that's the lineup sort of sorted, and we sort of discussed some of the Spurs threats. So let's move on to score predictions, because everyone loves a score prediction to see how inaccurate we can be. And I know Lottie loves it when I jinx these sort of things, and I've got an excuse because it's a prediction. So Lottie's got a hand over her eyes. I know she's thinking in depth about the predictions. So I'll come to her last. Matt, what's your prediction going to be?
Well, oddly enough, they've gone over to City and lost 7-0, and then they've gone lost at
you
home.
Had to drop that in there, didn't you?
They lost at home to United 4-0. So
they did. It
is a case of, are they taking these games seriously, or are they just, as Lossie said, just dropping points because for the sake of it because they know that they're good enough and there are other teams that are worse than them that could get relegated.
I must admit that's a very good point, Matt, because they have won 3 games. And when you think about a relegation side, usually will only win maybe 1 game or 2 games a season. Spurs can probably think we've actually won enough games to stay up. What's our motivation? We're not going to break top 3. But we're probably not going to get relegated. Not like last season where unfortunately we didn't get relegated because that would have been rather funny. So yeah, what is their motivation? And I think maybe that feels back to what Lottie was saying earlier. I think the manager was saying their main motivation is just to get a scalp, get the first scalp. And I think for them that is the case, isn't it? It's get that first rung on the ladder. Because the moment you, as I said in Iron Man 2, you make God bleed, people will stop believing it. The moment they get that first scalp against Arsenal, suddenly they're not this immortal side in their eyes, and I think they can do it again. So yeah, what do you think they're going to do then? Do you think they'll get that scalp, or do you think it's going to be an Arsenal win? And just same old.
I think Arsenal are going to win, but I think the type of motivation that comes across is one of the reasons why we've only got 1 relegation. We haven't got a double promotion or a threat of a relegation promotion playoff. I think we keep on talking about this, and it comes back a lot. And even if we had an expansion, say another 2 teams join the league, I think that would probably help a little bit more, get that competitive edgeness. There are teams at the moment that you could probably look at and go, they're comfortable in the WSL. They know they're not going to get relegated. They don't have to play the fantastic football because they know all they need to do is win three games and get 2 draws, and they're essentially safe because 14 points, ladies and gentlemen, keeps you in the WSL.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more there, Matt. It's just going to be an interesting game in terms of what's that midfield going to look like. Will Viv start? Will Frida start? Will Kyra start? Or Leah Volti? And there's just a lot of questions over it at the moment. I think this is going to annoy me now. I'm going to go for Tottenham Hotspur 2, the Arsenal 5.
Wow, so you're going for a major battering there, Lottie.
Yeah, no, I quite fancy it because I've been going 3-2 all season and I can't go through that again after Wednesday night. So I want a 5-2 scoreline, please.
Absolutely. So would you like a
2-5, I should say.
Would you like a come from 2 goals down to win 5-2 sort of game?
Yes and no. I'd be happy just to come back. So.
Just staring the pot.
I know, I was staring the pot.
Thing is, there's also one of my friend's little sisters, bless her. Dad's sitting in the Tottenham stand. She has to sit with her dad because she's under 18, but she's an Arsenal fan, and I'm gonna feel it for her if it does. It's a good Arsenal scoreline because Eggers gonna turn around and stare at her. So I'm gonna give it a chuckle because her dad does like watching Arsenal.
I look forward to watching the game back and seeing when Arsenal score, just one person just stand up in the crowd on their own, celebrating while like everybody else sort of looking at them like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah, no, I don't know if she'll do that because obviously she's not like an adult yet. So we'll see.
So you're saying 5-2. Matt, what was you predicted again? Sorry.
You know what? Let's go crazy. 11-0.
Wow. Okay, that's ambitious. Huh? Okay, right. You're going 11-0. Okay, I like the optimism. We should say actually.
I think there's going to score regardless, right?
Okay, we'll make it 11-1 then, like Bristol City. I should say actually, we have got at the moment we are 3 goals behind Chelsea on the table, which we've got to make up. If we win, we will go top. Or if we win or draw, we'll go top before Chelsea play the next day, which is against Bristol. So we need.
Would that be a nice Christmas present?
Oh, if Bristol beat Chelsea, I mean, that would be a Christmas present and a half. But we need to make up that 3-goal deficit. So a nice hearty win against Spurs and hopefully outdo Chelsea by 3 goals against Bristol, whatever their result that is, would be very, very good. So, yes, more goals the better. What I've learned is if I'm pessimistic in my predictions, they go well for us. I predicted that Chelsea would batter us, and instead we battered them. And so I'm going to go down a similar path and say it's going to be a 2-2 draw. And that will hopefully therefore mean that all will end well for us. So that's. And I'm looking at Lottie's eyes, but as you know, I'm playing it against us. I'm predicting a 2-2 draw, but I think what it will be is a brilliant occasion. I think this is going to be a really good derby. If it's going to be anything like the Chelsea game, I think it's going to be very special. And I can't wait to go to my first North London derby at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I think that pretty much wraps it up. That's everything Arsenal related. So before I get executed off screen by Lottie for daring to suggest Spurs might get something from the game, just a quick shout and say, where can we find you in the world of social media? Lottie, I'll come to you first.
Do you know what? I'm sure people who don't watch us on YouTube think I'm out to kill you. Now, thanks for that. Although I could throttle you half the time, but again, the pod wouldn't be here without you, so I can't. No. It's for my own benefit. I'm joking. Joke. You can find me at Lottie_AWFC on Instagram and Twitter. Or you can find me on VAW Pod.
Excellent. And Matt, where can we find you? Because I discovered, going for notifications, you've got 2 Twitter accounts, not just one.
Yes, I do. So I do apologise to Lottie because there was probably a load of spam messages that was going out in the VAW pod. I have a journalism account which I set up when I was studying my sports journalism degree. One of the reasons why you can question over who's doing the transfer zone, ladies and gentlemen, but that which will be back in January, as we all know, as the window opens then. But you can find me at MattLR28, which is my personal one, and then at MattR Reports is my journalism one.
Excellent. And yeah, do keep an eye out for your match reports on the what was the site you work for again, Matt?
At the it's the Clock End with the dash in the middle of the clock, in the middle of the clock.
End. Yes, do keep an eye out for them because they're always a good read. And it's a good thing you did mention the transfer zone. Yono did actually bring this up in his press conference. You couldn't mention any names or any specifics, but he did insinuate that there would be some comings and goings in the upcoming transfer window. There would be some departures. Didn't say if they were loans or sales, permanents, but suggested that there will be some outgoings and some incomings. So hopefully we'll be able to keep abreast on those and keep you updated on the transfer zone in the new year, but that's obviously still to come. And if you want to follow me whilst I'm still attached to this pod, it's at Adam Salter 4, where when I'm not talking about the pod, I'm winding up other fan bases and having a good laugh on the side and occasionally trying to sound remotely intelligent and failing to do so. But that's it. That's in the end of the pod. Yes, it's all until into tomorrow. Well, yeah, tomorrow morning, tomorrow night, 12 o'clock. Arsenal versus Chelsea. Is North London red? Is North London white? Are Spurs any good, or they're just a pile of not very good? We'll find out. Have a good weekend, everyone, and up the Gunners.
Come on, you Gunners!